morning, everybody, and welcome to our 5th In Good Company conference. It's wonderful to see so many familiar faces, so many people returning again. And this year, we've chosen to look at the art of business. So as most of you will know, the work that Nation Builder does is to equip and inspire the business community to lead social change in South Africa and beyond. And we work, over the last 10 years, we've actually been working with corporates and privately owned businesses who are actively pursuing success and impact on both a financial and a social level. This ever-growing community of businesses have navigated these seemingly different worlds where they start bringing them together and painting outside the lines, where they start blending and bringing together these traditionally separate worlds of financial gain and social impact. We, as a team, have been privy to seeing some of these amazing artworks unfold. And we've seen beautiful, unconventional, and unexpected ideas coming to the table as businesses and not-for-profits start working together and collaborating for the greater good of society. And they give rise to these beautiful solutions to our complex problems. As Andy Warhol put it, he said, being good at business is the most fascinating kind of art. And working with so many purpose-led businesses, we can attest to that. It is fascinating. And in the process of working with these businesses, we've identified a couple of principles that truly make for a business that is an art piece or a masterpiece. And I'd like to share with you a couple of those principles today. So the first principle is that masterful art is based or birthed or rooted in a deep conviction. So a truly beautiful artwork is birthed out of emotion or conviction of a need, an injustice, love, affection, appreciation, but it's out of a deep-seated place where the artist or the person starts going on this journey where they start navigating and peeling back layers to try and get a deeper understanding of their subject matter. So many businesses find themselves staring at a blank canvas and going, where do I even begin? Not knowing where to start, but today we're going to be hearing from different business leaders who are going to be telling us about where they began, where they creatively started crafting redemptive cultures, or where they practically started empowering the disempowered, or invested in the future for others in education, in quality education. Each speaker has a personal story to tell, and they are still navigating this journey and continuously discovering more and more about their subject matter and gaining greater insight and understanding. So art is personal, but it is also public, so it does come under scrutiny. It will be inspected, interpreted in somebody else's manner, and criticized. And therefore, it's important for us to know what we do or don't do. We need to know the why behind it and know that this deep-seated conviction will give us courage to continue and stay the course, to keep working to ultimately paint our own masterpieces. The second point is that artists take risks. Art is risky, and you're never sure what your outcome is going to be. And it's the same with business, especially when you're dealing with people, and then when you blend social development into the mix. You end up never knowing what the outcome is going to be. There are risks involved in it. So to make an impact on society, we need to start learning how to be flexible and adaptable, how to not be resistant to change, and how to find new ways of doing things that will probably require us to start painting outside the lines, or sometimes even shifting the lines to new places, so that we can find new solutions to these complex issues that our country and our business might face. The third thing is that no artwork is the same. All art is unique. If you look at original art pieces, they are not the same, even if they are painted by the same artist, with the same medium, at the same time, in the same place. If they're original, they will be different. There will be differences in them. And this translates into business, where every business's approach to being a business with purpose is unique. They use what they have at their disposal, be it resources, staff, product, time, and they look at their context and utilize it within their context to be able to bring about that change in society. We see it similarly to what an artist would do when choosing the medium and the tools that they would use, when they're wanting to create textures or moods, what are they trying to portray? And businesses do exactly the same by looking at the tools that they have available to themselves and the context they find themselves in. Fourthly, it takes perseverance to be an artist. So artists may be born with talent and skill, but to be able to be excellent and shape that excellence, you have to invest time in refining your skill, in exploring, in learning from the greats that went before you. And lastly, there's a perseverance that is required when morale is low, and artists face that often. Using one's business as a force for good is no different. We'll make mistakes. We will not get it right every single time. We are going to learn in the process. There are greats that have gone before us that we can learn from, which is phenomenal. And when our morale is low, don't give up, because it's at that time and that moment that true beauty is showing its face. And then lastly, good collaboration makes for powerful art. So long-term social impact and business, long-term business, is underpinned by one fundamental ingredient, and that is collaboration or true partnership. A limited amount of impact can be achieved in isolation, but if we work together and we collaborate with one another, it is incredible the exponential beauty and impact that we can see. Art is the coming together of different colors, lighting, space, and these elements and components often compete with one another. They're actually both trying to dominate the space, and they're competing for dominance and airtime. And when these aren't kept in ratios with one another that exist in harmony, or they do not consider one another, these elements, you end up with an image that doesn't have harmony or balance. But when these elements can come in and work together, you get a beautiful picture that is harmonious and it's full of balance and makes people embrace it much more easily. And it is exactly the same with art and business. It is essential in art and business for us to embrace the different collaborations that we will engage in across a journey and on different levels, so that we can have powerful impact and ensure timeless artwork. So today we're going to hear about where to begin, what mediums other people have used in their journey, how they've painted outside the lines, and how they've connected the dots with one another to create harmonious and beautiful artworks that have lasted a lifetime, and lifetimes in some cases. But all of this, so we've got these 5 points of what makes masterful art. But what does this accomplish in business? Well, art builds bridges. It's the bringing together of different worlds that helps us find a way for these different entities to coexist, these different worlds to coexist and flourish. It's the bringing together of people around a commonality. It's a human connection that fosters cohesion and unity. It finds ways to share in its experiences, relationships, networks, and knowledge that will enrich our society to the fullest. Art is a dialogue. The second thing is that art brings life to barren places. It brings light in places where there is darkness. It brings joy and a resonance and a restoration of hope and dignity to those who may have forgotten what those words even mean. Art reminds us of our fragile humanity and reignites a passion for us to care for one another, deeply care for one another, and see each other for who we are. Art stimulates innovation, thirdly. Art is taking risks. It's pushing the boundaries. It's trying new things. And this helps us create a culture of innovation. This culture will prevent us from stagnating or becoming redundant. And it's important for us to be reminded that we speak about art, but creativity is not limited to art mediums and art forms. Creativity is essential in every industry and every walk of life, so that we can start looking at things differently, to find new and better ways of engaging with business and within society, so that we can find solutions to the problems that we face. Art, lastly, inspires and challenges others. And I think if you speak to any artist, their ultimate goal and their ultimate moment is when their art has inspired somebody to move and shift their perceptions, to act or speak out against or for something. Artful business does exactly the same. It inspires people to give it a try, to start somewhere, to take the risk and be courageous enough to try and shape our society through the most powerful vehicle that we have in business. As Robert F. Kennedy said, few will have the greatness to bend history itself, but each of us can work towards changing a small portion of events. It is from the numberless diverse acts of courage and belief that humankind is shaped. So today we're going to celebrate the countless acts of courage, conviction, and change that are shaping our history and our nation. And we encourage everybody, those of you that are streaming live across the country, to make your organization an art form and to together shape our nation into a masterpiece. Thank you, and enjoy today.